Are we live now? That's the question. I think we are live. Let's just be sure we are live. Let's go like that. We are. Now, the question. What is Twitch gonna say about me putting up the bitrate just a little bit again? And of course putting the game to 60 FPS because apparently it was on 30. Oh, not my 6, not this. But the game. Not the game, the stream. Let's see. Let us see. And this one tells us we're live. That is nice. And the bitrate is excellent now. Which is weird because it was more or less the same last time. Then it was unstable. No, the noodles. Not the noodles. I dropped the noodles. Alright, let's quickly make a cup of tea and then we can start. I'm also sure that we'll begin to start some kind of pre-roll ads right. Holy fuck. Coaster, welcome too. Thanks for checking in. We're just quickly making a tea. Oh. There we go. Now the ad also began. That means we have 60 minutes of no ads. This is fucking nice, actually. I like that. But I do need to make a quick tea first. Question, what tea should I make? I don't know. I think we'll just take whatever we're taking normally to begin with. A Yorkshire tea. Yorkshire tea. A proper brew. And not just a Yorkshire tea, but a Yorkshire tea gold, if I can get my hand down in the cookie jar. Yorkshire tea gold. Yes, that is true, Costa. You do pay for sub, and I'm very happy you do that. There's still tea in my cup. I don't remember when I made this tea. I will throw it out quickly. Alright. Well, the stream seems to be good. I hope. Yes, I did. I did. I saw it. You have too many folders on your desktop. That's the only thing I can say. But yes, I did. Alright. The water's done. Should I put on my Instagram that I'm streaming? Not that it matters. All my people are tea people. And we are not doing tea. We can do tea. We're just not doing it right now. 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 Alright, welcome back. Alright, welcome back. Jesus Christ. Alright, welcome back. Jesus Christ. Alright, welcome back. Jesus Christ. Alright, welcome. Jesus Christ. You cannot link stuff right now, right? 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 Echo. You cannot link stuff right now, right? Echo. Oh, it was because I could hear the stream. Sorry for that. Alright. Let's fucking go. What happened last time? Well, last time we... There you go, I can hear the game now. I was like, I cannot hear the game. Well, what happened last time? We played as Grace. That's this creepy doctor. We played as Leon. We shot a lot of people. And now, the creepy nurse is back. And we need to do something about that. That's what you get out of that. That was all I know. So, let's see. Do we need that? Maybe, we actually might need that. This one is perfect. This one is so good to have. Not gonna lie. So yeah, we are now back. We're down the basement. And I forgot how bad the... Oh yeah, right, we came from up there. We need a powder. Some of you are going to come alive, aren't you? Oh, I don't like this. You're going to be alive, aren't you? Fucking knew it. Fucking knew it. Oh. You don't... You know what? You don't surprise me. Oh, god damn it. No more weapon. No more melee. I just knew it. I knew that guy would be, like, annoying. Okay, so we have 2 places now that needs power. Wonderfucking-ful. Hello? Oh. Hello. I just have a feeling some of you will come out soon. And I don't really feel like fighting you guys right now. Even though you have stuff in there I kinda want. Just a precaution, because I know you will... Yes. I am sure the door suddenly open and they will all come. Oh, why you... I hate that girl. I hate that girl. I hate that thing. Oh. That's bad. This is bad. Don't shine your light off there. She might fucking come back.
Oh, thank goodness. Emily!
She's sleeping. Oh. Oh my god, that nurse is her friend.
It collects things.
Or maybe it just collects things. I have a feeling that thing was her friend. Why else wouldn't she be dead right now? Wait, so the moment I... Don't tell me you're back alive, no. So the moment I click green, all of these doors will open. I think. So, let's make it easy for ourselves. Hello. Hello. Next. Fuck you. Ah, I missed. Thank you. Next. Oh, scrap. Thank you. Yeah, I am so sure. No. Yeah. Is that also green? That's also a green one. The moment I take that out, all of these doors will open. So yeah, I'm not dealing. Not dealing with that. That is for sure. I'm not dealing with that. I've played enough games to know when you're gonna fuck me over. There we go. Now we can deal with that. Exactly. Oh. Oh. You gotta insert all 3 giant blocks and then pull the left lever if you're crazy enough to open the cells. You see, open the cells. Boom. The giant blocks are currently being used for power in other areas. If I mark the location on the map, removing them will cut the electricity, so better be extra sure before you start messing around with them. See, exactly.
You can do this.
Thank you. And see? Shit.
Not again.
Shit. Oh shit. Oh shit. Am I dead? Is this a... I think this was a bad idea. Fuck. Oh. You go that way. Oh my god. Just knew that one. Alright, so what's in here? Do I have enough to make another knife? I don't. But there should be some right there. Perfect. Knife. Take the toolbox to the boiler room for repairs. The quality of the blood in the laboratory received has gone downhill. We have noticed from all above the indication. Looks like some problem. Okay, so there's a toolbox in the boiler room. I don't know where the boiler room is, so that does not help me. Oh, and I need the toolbox to get in there. Okay. Good to know, good to know. I mean, I like Disney. Sorry, I was getting... Yes, I do like Disney. Two seconds. Can I lock her in here? I don't know where she's going right now. Oh, she's going up. Okay. That means we can go up here. I will check that out in a moment. So just need to. Ah, we both know. Oh. Well, now I feel dumb. Let me just quickly check. Hey, Pumbaa. That's nice. Okay, that's kind of cool. I like that. Ah, it's just a nut guy. I can deal with that. Don't mind him. Oh, that's a good price. Someone see me? Why did we give the motherfucker my knife? Huh? Thank you. He wasn't supposed to have my knife. What the fuck? Ha ha ha. But no, he did not see that coming for sure. Oh. Hello, my friend. Okay. Oh, we're back in here. Oh, how wonderful. That's a good way to get over there. Reloading. Tactical reload. And the lockpick. Tactical lockpick. I don't have any. I need a key. Don't know exactly.
It's two.
Oh, but I think I kind of want to go in there. Tactical Pumbaa. Also done. Okay, maybe there's something in here. The 12 subjects provided with the blood infection. No. Scrap. Do we have anything for that? I don't think we have anything for that. White House accused. Wait, what? Raccoon City. What is? Oh yeah, right. I forgot to. 60, 40, 80? Don't think it's for this one. 60, 40, 80. It was! I thought that was for the other one in the hallway. Huh. Come on. Huh. Would you look at that? I for real thought that would be for the, no. But not really what I needed though. We can get in here now, so we don't need the power from there. So we can try to take. Let's give the power in that one for now. Why did the music start? Oh. Why? Give me my knife back. Not gonna lie, I'm kinda mad about they keep taking my knives. Kinda mad about that. That there was no more scrap around here. What's up, bitch? I know. What a bitch. Oh, I was like, what is this place? We already been here. Do I have anything in here I need right now? No, I do not. I don't want to go in here right now. There was something down here for the... There we go. Let's see. Hydrate. Okay, okay. I don't know where my water bottle is right now. Do you think I'm thirsty? Oh shit, my tea. Ah. I like the tea too. To be honest, I'm always tea thirsty, so good assumption. Okay, you have no head, so I'm not scared of you. Oh! The binary room. We need to get something from here, right? A toolkit. Oh, you have no head either. I know a door for you. Actually, I have that, so I really want, you know, I really want a knife. But bullets are also a very good choice. Oh shit. Oh my fuck. Oh my fuck. Oh. Oh Jesus. I'm just gonna squeeze past here quickly. Don't mind me. Woo! Alright. Yeah, wonderful. What did we need this for again? Oh, a square shaped.
Barely made it.
Oh, we made it. We made it fine. Don't worry about that. No clue where she is right now. How many bullets do I have? Anything in here I really want? I'm just going in where there's a few of those. It's okay. Oh, I kind of want that actually. 2 seconds. I know. Oh, damn it! I thought he wouldn't annoy me.
Damn.
Ah, God, oh, fuck off! Oh, you two can stay in there. Fuck you two. Woo! Okay. I need help. This is not good. Fuck you. You know, my friend, I didn't really want to. Oh, why are you coming this way? I don't think this book can kill her, so... Hopefully, she'll just go away. She's not coming all the way down here, is she? He's going... He's turning back, right? Maybe I should have brought the other one too. Oh, now I can actually check out the arrow. Okay. I wish I had some green leaves right now. But I don't. Alright. Motherfucker. You just need to be extra careful right now. Give me your blood. Motherfucker. I just realized I could actually have shot that thing from outside. Yeah. Anything else we want in here? We want to be sure now that we are in here. No. No green plants, no nothing. Oh, a beautiful little teacup. Oh wait, she's scared of the light, right? There's no more things there. I didn't really want to deal with that. Okay. So this one can go back quickly. Install you. Do I have more shit? No. I just want more bullets right now. Yes. No clue where she is right now. She's right here, that is for sure. Hey. Where? We don't know. Do I want to find out? Not really right now. Okay. I haven't been down here yet. Again, I know I really, really want a knife, but damn, I want bullets right now. Oh wait, I have that. That was not what I thought it was for, but I like that. Oh. Oh, I need 2 for that one. Well, that's kind of annoying. If I knew I needed 2, I would have brought 2. Okay. Hopefully, she's not here. And everyone else is also dead. You're gonna fucking stay dead, my friend. Okay, let's go back and grab something. Oof. I don't like when I don't know where she is and I have like 1 health left. You're gonna stay dead. The same with you in there. All of you better fucking stay dead. Especially you. No plants, no green herbs, no nothing. Gonna collect that shit right now. I thought the thing was for this one, but I see my mistake. So we can use both to get in here, but I kind of want to see. No, wait, we know what's there. Oh, we've been there. Oh no, I don't need to go anywhere else actually. No man, forget what I said. We are going to the right place. We'll be back. Not coming this way, right? She doesn't like the light, does she? Isn't she like afraid of the light? She is. I can use that for my advantage right now. Thank fucking God she is off. Okay, so she went the other way. That means. Is she coming? Okay, we're running this way. Oh no! I thought she would look the other way. Damn it! I thought, you know. I know, Ghost.
You can do this.
Oh. Bullshit. Okay, now we know. You know. Now we know. Oh, god damn it. So we know she's going that way, right? Oh no, she's not. Why are you not going that way now? Oh no. Please don't come that way. Oh no. Exactly, we know she knows that I know that she knows that we can do what we know. And we know that's a good start. So we know she will go that way, so we know we can go this way. We also know it's dangerous to just do shit. Oh yeah, that was the one I thought I needed to use the thing for, but apparently I don't. Toolbox in the boiler room. We know. And we know that I want the knife. You know, it's actually pretty nice because now I have more health and we can do this the right way. And we know she's going that way. Because she's a little bitch. And you can just continue that way. Thank you very... Don't come back! Oh my god. There was a moment that I thought she would come back. Oh my god. We know she knows that was a bad idea. Woohoo! Bullets, knife. You're not coming to life. Where are you? Bitch. And we know this one was 60, 40, 80. 60, 40, 80. And how did we know that? Because I'm fucking amazing. Was there any more we know? No. I want to say, I figured out what code we need to use before that. Lockpick. He'll be dead, that's perfect, don't really care.
That's 2.
Yes, it is. I know there'll be a guy here that will get the gun. Oh shit. I have a feeling she was behind me. Alright. Do you want to do all of this again? I mean, we kinda need to. It's not that. First of all, let's be smart. Let's save. We need to save. Always save your progress. Very important. Anything we don't need right now? No, we need everything. Who was the other fuck? There's someone alive. Ooh, that's good. I like that. Rare metal. Scrap. And let's reload this gun. Oh yeah, right. And now we learn how to make a Molotov. More pistol ammo. And I'm taking that as a souvenir. Oh my. Oh, that's why you cannot just do this, because then we're turning off on the electricity in here. Oh, that's actually pretty good to know. Let's deal with that quickly. I kind of want all of I want the things that I didn't have before. Also because we kind of need, you know, we need the 2, I just realized, so... Thank you. I thought I could squeeze past her. I couldn't. Oh, 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 oh. No, thank you. Squeeze, 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 squeeze. Oh. Oh. That's okay. That's okay. That's okay. That's okay. I thought I was smart here and could just squeeze past her quickly.
Barely made it.
Yeah, I feel you on that one. Yeah, but you don't like the light, right? Right? Mate. Aha! Nah, 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 nah. Ooh. Screw her. Okay, we're back at what we did before. And that fucker's back there, so we just... Let's be smart. We're putting this one back. Because then I can deal with that fucker in here. Oof. Amen. I'm good, thank you very much. Oh. Don't even know where she is. Perfect. And that's how you do it. Thank you. If he's back, I'm gonna be annoyed. Okay, good. I was like, he better not fucking be back. Alright. We Gucci. Let me just quickly go back and reload. You need to play Repo. Yeah, it's fun. There have been some updates, I think, actually. We could play it at some point. I will tell you, I'm one of those players that just focus on strength so I can just kill everybody. Just light info. Ah, that's nice. Then I need to try it again at some point. Because this doesn't look... Yep. Just what I thought. She's gonna fucking chase me in here, isn't she? I can just feel it. I can feel it in my bones. Maybe not. That that felt so unnecessary. That really felt unnecessary. Like, why was that a thing? That was just unnecessary for the win. Huh.
The smell.
I feel you. We still need a key though. Oh. Great. Do we still have the key? Ah. Thank you. Ah, great. Got the forklift key. Handgun ammo. A hip pouch. 2 more spots. Do I like that? I love that. Oh, and that's nice. I like that. That was scrapped. I didn't see that. Why am I so sure there's something in the water? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay. Okay. Oh. Your current location. Turn the valve to drain the water. And the valve is on the other side. It's dangerous to enter. Oh. I know. We need to go all the way around. I mean, it's not running. So... Oh, it will not even let me. Fair. That is absolutely fair. Ow. Okay, now there will be something in here. Something to jump scare just because I'm on ease, right? There's something coming out. Someone say boo on this side. Who? No. On this. Nice. Quick to take that. I knew it. I knew it. That's what I said. Fucking knew it. Good thing I have this whole thing under. I can just go. I can go this way around. I don't need to take the power there. Don't know where she is right now. I mean, I'm not dealing with no base right now. There you go. I know you're here somewhere. Sucks to be you. I have light here. Hi. You wanna come in? Oh, sucks to be you. Oh! Oh, holy fuck. You're not allowed to do that. I didn't think she would run in here. Damn. Not gonna lie, that only scared the shit out of me. Like, holy. Nope, 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 nope. Oh That's not okay. That's not okay at all to do that shit. Nine bullets. Hi. Where you going? Oh, fuck. Oh. Fucking be gone. Damn. What a bitch.
Oh my god.
Wait. Wait, what? Oh! You are... You are alive. Wrong way. Okay, other way. That's the... Could you... What the... Hello! Okay, one at a time. Oh my god. I don't know. Not the kind I like to be in, that's for sure. What the fuck? Okay. Oh my god. Hello, Panda. How are you doing? Welcome to Spooky Ass Dry Cleaning. APS. I was good until the big lady tried to get me again.
It's not going crazy.
Oh my god, I hate this area so much. Woo! This looks like a trap. I'm gonna save here anyway. There'll be an ad break in a few. Panda, you know the deal. Oh my god. Before anything, I'll just quickly take a sip of tea. That lady has been... Holy fuck. The worst. All of these bodies coming to life. Ugh. I don't have enough bullets to fight all of those fuckers. I don't want to. I need to use one of my Requiem shots too, because I got into a corner. Don't mind me. Really?
Fluid drainage complete. Processing will now begin.
No! No, thank you. No, thank you.
Processing. Shit, no! No, no!
Yeah, you can all die. I am mighty fine right here. I'm just gonna do. Yep. You What's up, guys? Ah! Fuck! What was that? A Molotov! Can we, Jesus Christ. Oh, bullets. Lay down. No. Bad. Oh, fuck. No, 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 I want my knife. Oh, my knife. And has checked in. Welcome to the cafe house. How you doing? My knife!
Processing complete.
You fuckers better stay down. I swear to God. I don't want. And Panda also
Finally
checked in.
stopped. Thank God.
Oh my God. I hate this so much. Fuck. I'm doing great, Has, by the way. Thank you so much for asking. And welcome to welcome. I'm taking this thing out and she will jump down from somewhere, won't she? No, I don't think so. Maybe not.
Last one. Not a free Emily and get out of this place.
Go away. Oh, do we need to stretch? 2 seconds. Let's just do a big hands behind the back. Oh, that was actually a fucking nice stretch. Holy fuck. Ah, my headset. Go away. Come back. Oh, that was actually. Don't pause the game. Coaster, we were going up the fucking staircase. There was nothing happening, trust me. What will happen is that we're gonna save again, because fuck that shit. It was actually a really fucking good stretch. I can still feel the stretch. I'm very, very happy about that stretch right now. Let's make a medical injector. Don't even try. Don't even try. Wait. Oh. I don't want to go in there. I don't wanna. I don't want to go in. This is why I didn't want to go in. Where are we now?
My mouth.
You. Come here, my plant. Now I suddenly realize why everyone loved this plant. Welcome back from a little ad break. Nobody got an ad. It's only Panda who can get an ad. By the way, Panda, you got no ads yesterday. I know that because of one thing. I didn't get any ad revenue. Why did I do that? Let's just pools of blood. Yeah, how dare you? Imagine if you could just make specific targeted ads to people. Like this, I want this person in the chat to have ads on my channel. Of course, it's if applicable. That would have been fun as fuck. Money in the back, right now. I will call the payday gang. I don't like this. I don't like this. Why did... Fuck. Okay. We have power there. We have power over there. So I need to go over there, take the power, go here, take the power, and then run to over here. Okay. Okay, we can do this. Do you guys believe? Do you guys believe? Oh wait, we have fucking light here. Ha! Na 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 na. I will quickly save. Because fuck me. Oh my god. I have a knife. You know what I don't have? Don't have ammo. Alright. Alright. We can do this. We can do... Oh no! Oh no! My bitrate is too high. Why is it too high?
Why would you subscribe to this guy? Well, at least he appreciates it.
Well, normally I would appreciate it, but it's Sandy who subscribes. Hello, Sandy, by the way. How are you? And why didn't it say hi? I see your message. That's weird. How was Phoenix Con? Okay. I know, Sandy. I'm sorry. Honestly, I could not be bothered. I could not be bothered. I could not be bothered. Fuck you. No, I'm not dealing with you right now. I could not be bothered to not deal with you. You are one piece of shit. Oh, it was small. Well, how small are we talking? Ah, that is good. That's important. Happy you had a good time. I have a feeling after Dokumi, every con will feel small to me now. There were so many people at Dokumi. I swear to God. Alright. Should we run up, put the two things in? We don't have it. It's also like... Okay, let's just see. Where the fuck is she right now? Is she even here? Oh, she's not. Oh, how wonderful. Alright. She's coming now, isn't she? She's gonna jump down in a few minutes. I can feel it. Boom! Oh no, no, not really. Nice. You know, I was looking up the right bit rate for like a 1080 stream.
It's me! It's me! It's Grace! It's Grace!
2319.
Grace? Yeah.
Why the fuck
We
23?
gotta get out of here.
But what does 2319 mean? Is that a code?
Hold on tight.
I killed all of you fuckers.
Scared.
Oh, you're scared.
Loud.
Try to be me right
It's
now.
gonna be okay. Just don't let go.
Don't let go. I'm not letting go.
Come on. Come on.
Ah,
It's just bringing you down.
I don't remember that. I'm tapping as fast as I can. I'm fat tapping. Fat tapping. Fat tap. Fuck you! Oh! Damn! Cheers! Great. Yeah!
Are you hurt? I'm okay. That's good.
Has, we both know what I said, and we don't need to talk about what I said. Ah, just enjoy the game. Did everybody just die?
What's going on?
We're so fucked. We're so fucked. We're so fucked. We're so fucked. Don't tell me we're going down again. Phantom. Ow! Why did I get hurt by that? Why is it always she's trying to grab our leg? Oh no, are we gonna lose a leg? Oh, we're gonna. No, thank you. I'd rather not. I am. She cut off our leg. We need to stop the bleeding. Oh no! Oh my god! Oh, I just heard the splashing sound. Oh my god! I thought we lost the leg. Oh my god! Wait, am I offline?
Grace?
Wait.
Grace?
Oh no, I'm not. Wait, what? My Twitch was telling me I was offline. What the fuck? She's no Ethan Winters. Oh my god. Ooh, oh, welcome back, Sandy.
You okay?
I am not okay right now. I am far from okay.
Here, I kept this safe for you.
Oh, that's so cute. Thank you. I like this little girl. She is so adorable.
Thank you.
Please don't tell me she's the main antagonist in this game. I swear to God. Yep. We do want the we do want that cube. We needed that cube. That's why we brought her out. I hope that thing is dead now.
Let's go.
Yes, for the love of God, let's go. I can't anymore. Falcon's second time was bigger than Phoenix. Okay. Interesting. I got a free. Panda, don't throw Has in the bin. Let me. A severed hand is still warm. Did I just took the hand. Why would I take the hand? Why?
Do you maybe want to
Oh, that was the hair.
with me? It's not safe here.
Do it. I love my bin juice.
Okay.
All right.
Good. That's good.
I forgot where I'm going to be. You're gonna sit right there, and I'm gonna think about my life choices since I took a fucking severed hand. So, just asking for a friend, just because I know, of course, I know what it is, but asking for a friend, what the fuck what is bin juice? Asking for a friend, of course. Dokumi was amazing. Love Dokumi. It was so big, like, I don't know how to describe it. It felt like fucking a festival or something. It was so amazing. I didn't see half of the things, actually. I was selling, but it was very nice. Okay, I was very happy I was asked. It was interesting. But damn, I was tired for sure. Oh, and I was old apparently. I was sitting at in the artist alley, just sitting down for a moment, and I sneezed and I blew out my back. So everyone around us was laughing. I had a friend went to dog me. They loved. Yeah, it was amazing. I think that if they did, I probably didn't even realize, to be honest. But yeah, Dokumi was amazing. I hope we can go back next year. I know. Holy shit. I felt old. I felt so old. I sneezed, and I just couldn't walk at all. My back was dead. Even the day after, my back was dead. Ah, okay. Alright, I regret asking now. I do regret asking. Is there anything we need from here? We've done everything up here. There's that thing down there, of course. There's apparently a Mr. Raccoon down there. Okay. Status. Gun. Bullets. Gun. Knife. Severed hand.
I can't leave Emily behind.
Oh. I already forgot about the girl. I feel so... I forgot about the girl. Oops. Hey! Not that I just put you here or anything. I'm so sorry. I forgot about you already. I'm a horrible parent. Let's get out of here together. Leaving without the girl. Oh my god. I'm a horrible person. I know, I'm a terrible mother. And I do apologize. That was aggressive. Are you gonna close again? I don't... the courtyard. Reach the courtyard in the cat center.
We made it.
Yes, we're outside. Yeah, you know what? Actually, as a good person, I should find a way out, be sure the way is safe, and then bring her. You're right, Has. Right now, I'm a terrible person. We don't know what's happening right now.
Emily?
Yeah.
Are you alright?
She's tired.
Emily?
I don't know.
You don't know what you don't know about.
Well, let's just... we need to keep moving, okay?
Yes.
Emily?
Because it's just a helicopter here normally. Perfect. Well,
Hey!
hello? Who's shouting? Oh, the...
Stay right there!
Hey, it's okay. We're not infected.
Okay.
So you're normal?
I'm sorry, the quality will go a
I
little
think
down
so.
right now. We're probably lagging a little. Even for me. I'm sorry.
Those things still running around?
Who are you?
You don't need to worry about me.
I'm tired.
I know.
Me too. I'm also tired.
That your kid?
Yeah.
What's...
This? Old war wound. I can't run away even if I wanted to.
Yeah.
Can you fly this?
Sure can. My bastard boss took the key. You know, I could fly us all out of here. If you go get it for me.
Have you just been here the whole time?
It's in there. I'd go myself, but I can't outrun those things, not with this leg.
Have you been out here the whole time?
Are you lying to me?
What? Have you seen the same shit I've seen?
Yes.
Look, lady, we're out of options here. How much longer do you think any of us can survive?
Can I go back to my room now?
It's not
Yes,
safe.
I think we killed her.
Hey,
I hope we killed her. Please, for love of God, tell me
can
we
help
killed
each
her. If she shows up again, I don't
protect
know what to do.
if you get the key,
No, I'm gonna put her back in the room
I'll
because I
keep
don't
her
trust.
safe.
That's what all creepy
promise.
old men would say. I keep her safe. I promise. No, no, no.
It's a deal.
Why would that not be a spoiler, Coaster? She was never in that room, was she?
Ready? No.
Me too.
Gotta strap you in.
Okay, I was confused there for a moment.
I'm Grace, by the way.
Oh.
This is Emily.
I'm Archer.
Harry,
Oh, hey, Harry.
Thank you, Harry.
no problem.
Is that the man who lived?
I'll be right back.
You're welcome. Oh, thanks, Tess. Oh. Holy shit, it's lagging out here. That is bad. Let's get inside again. I don't like to be out here. Okay, everything is actually just really fucked up right now. We're good, right? We're only using 2% CPU. Okay, we're good again. Me too. Not the best. That's how it is. Maybe I should, if I really begin to stream again, maybe I should save up money and have a dedicated streaming PC and then a dedicated computer
Please,
PC.
just let it be in here.
Holy shit. I know I collect weird things, but who the fuck collects bone saws? Ooh, books. Diagnosis and therapy. Model family medicine. Journal of Psychomatic Medicine. But why you have 2 of that? Medical consult manual. Cardiac medicine. Basic autonomy. Why you have that one 2 times next to each other? I know. Did I just start streaming again, Coaster? Did I just start streaming again, huh? Huh? Have I streamed 2 days in a row since I started streaming again, huh? Bitch. Ah, it's a book. Publication about medicine. Yes. Was that all? Okay. A globe? Why? Why? Why would you hang up your... Okay, sure. It took some time, but just saying, Coaster, I was working on Daicha's TikTok. Did you see the amount of views on that video? Huh? There's a new video on its way. White tea is coming soon. Just saying, just saying. But yes, I need to be better at working at shit. Can I take this? Or is something I need? Is there something inside? Okay. Oh my god, that's a big needle. That's a very big needle. Okay, I just need a cup of tea. Oh, Jesus Christ. Okay. I'm feeling dizzy there. I do not like needles. And that one was a big. Alright. Chest. This one is inside a baked cage. Oh, wine. Wait. Oh? I did it wrong. That's cool! A double helix mod. That is cool as fuck. I want one of those. That was cool. What else do we have here? Why do we have... Oh. Oh. The wine was from Village. Nah, I feel dumb. Can't remember that. Huh. Hey, I was not done looking at shit. Is it just me, or is it a little overkill to make the whole room go down? Maybe just, you know, open it something smaller. Thank you. I was not done. Huh? Exactly. Antique hourglass. Thank you. Anything else? Notes regarding research results. By Shannon. Ah, true. Your presentation was quite impressive. While we are pleased to hear that the experiment has progressed to phase 4, it is far from the result we expected. Typical fucking, what's it called? Higher ups. Never happy about what the fuck we do. It has been more than 20 years since the establishment of this care center. We require clear results. Okay, 20 years is a little long, I guess. As an added precaution, we have requested the blockage to be extended to 2040. It's impressive. We obtained Eblis before the deadline. What the fuck is Eblis? I thought it was Elvis at first, but apparently it was not Elvis. Nope. Oh. Water dispenser. Pickled eggs for some reason. Because why not? Let's quickly save, just to be sure. Another lame area like that. Spencer's research 2. Money transfer. Oswald... I was about to say Oswald Cobblepot. I don't think Cobblepot was here. Humidity stuff. Just a fruit fly. Okay, that's a long thing I didn't really want to read. I'm sorry. It's locked from the other side. Holy shit! That's a lot of people. That's cute. I like that. Ooh, what the fuck? Is that a sun?
What the hell?
Do we have enough guns? Oh. Disposal tank for emergency use only. Something. Oh yeah, right, the sun would actually kill me that close. It looks pretty though. Wait, is that blood? Are we fighting Dracula? Apparently. Holy fuck. Damn. You've seen better days. I don't know why I opened these. I think I found something in them like 1 or 2 times. Is that the scooping? Is this the scooping room from FNAF? Is that the scooper? If I don't play FNAF, then I know what I mean. Oh, I don't like the needle. Yeah, no thank you. Someone being extracted, yeah. Yeah, that thing being extracted is my will to live right now. Oh, it's the cover. Wait, are we in fucking China? Or are you saying... Hey! That was actually something for once. Nice. No papers we want to read? Something else? Let me guess, closer from the other side? No. Emergency evacuation route. Papers. Extracted a 2.3 milliliter sample from the 5th blood tank collected from 115. Holy shit! 524 liters of blood from 115 infected. That's 5 liters per person. Yeah, okay, that's like, yeah, okay, no, that's actually okay. Administered to Marie. Did Marie have wait, what? Henceforth registered as subject 170. Subject 117 exhibited increased physical resilience but failed to fulfill the goal of the experiment. The subject showed signs of mental instability before escaping. Escaping? What do you mean escaping? What do you mean escaping? Okay, so this door's closed. It's too heavy to open. Why is she... What do you mean she escaped? I'm gonna find subject 170. Oh wait, is subject 170 the big girl? Oh my god, somebody took one of those. We're making a fucking battery here, like... Wait, there was nothing here, what? Oh, there was a door. Papers. Ooh. Documents. Grace, why is she... Why... Stop analyzing my shit without asking me. What the fuck? I'm just saying. Consent. You would never make somebody tea who didn't want tea. You don't take someone's blood without asking them first. Like, what the fuck? Here the result of the comprehensive blood analysis you requested. The genetic information matches the specific data perfectly. STI match, SNT analyze match, HLR match. You don't. I don't know, but still. You ask. If I can't make tea and pour it down people's, throat immediately, you cannot take people's blood. It's not okay.
Found you.
Wait. Where's the boss? He said his boss took the key. Where's the boss? I have seen nobody down here yet. Door action. Press to deactivate. I don't want to.
Yes, Sino, that's correct.
Oh. Never mind, the boss is here.
All tests have come back positive.
Oh, it's Victor.
I can confirm that she is indeed the one that we've been searching for. If all goes as planned, Elpis will soon be in our hands.
Why you want Elvis all the time?
Of course.
Let the man die in peace.
First, I must initiate the protocol.
What protocol 10? Protocol 6?
I've done it.
What have you done? Why are we hiding Grace? He has fucking night vision goggles. He will just see us immediately. He has those spooky robot eyes. I'm sure you already know we're here.
I've done it.
What have you done?
I've done it.
What did you do? What a mood swing. What a mood swing. I done it. I done it. I done it. Wait. He had to poo, apparently. God damn it.
The self-destruct protocol has been initiated. All staff, please evacuate. I repeat, all staff, please evacuate.
I would like to.
The self-destruct protocol has been initiated.
Oh, emergency exit door. There was emergency exit door. That way. Hello. Go away. Go away. Go away. Oh, God. Ow. Go away. Jesus Christ. Leave me fuck alone. You know, maybe I should have taken those things we saw.
Shit.
Oh no, that's mutating them. Fuck me. Yes, I am running. Fuck you. Suffering in the Red Sea, yeah. Oh, God. Run, rats! Run! Yeah, fuck you. Is this The Shining? Right, so we're running. Like, you know, what the fuck do you want to do? There's nothing else we can do right now. Just run! Oh, fuck me! Ah, quick timing wins. Fuck you. Wait. But now Victor's coming up. Will he take the girl?
Why does this shit keep happening?
I don't know. I swear to God, Victor is waiting for us right here. Or maybe not.
Oh, I made it. Okay. I'm coming, Emily.
I am tired of you right now. I'm sorry. I am not in the mood for you. Emily? Harry? We're back to lagging. Sorry about it again. Not a lot I can do.
You get it?
Yeah.
Wait, didn't... Holy shit, it's lagging a lot.
What the fuck did you do?
Grace? Grace, what's happening? It's okay, Emily. I'm here. Emily, it's gonna get a little bumpy. I'm right next to you.
No, lady, I'm gonna need you up front.
Oh, it's okay, I'm all right.
Come on.
Oh, there are so many of them.
Strap in.
Oh, come on!
What's it look like I'm doing? No shit! Hold tight, I'm taking off!
us. Grace. What's she got to do with this? Hello, gorgeous.
Hello? Can you hear me now? Okay, so apparently, the game, that cutscene, was so demanding that it just crashed everything in my computer. I don't know what happened. I have everything on the lowest. Do I need a new computer? Damn. Oh well, I'm back, boys. How long have I not been talking? When did you start hear me? I have just been talking shit about Harry. Interesting. Nah. Minecraft runs fine. I don't want. I should, but if I'm moving to Japan or Korea next year, I don't need to buy one right now. Maybe I'll figure it out. Maybe I just need to upgrade.
Just can't stay out of trouble.
When did he get a sniper? Ah, then he didn't hear me. I was talking about how Harry. It feels like Harry was just a character that's like, I'm here, I'm dead. There was no reason to have him at all. Like, it was just for plot. No, I'm thinking about, if I'm getting out of this apartment, maybe, if the people find something, I might be moving, like, just for a year or something. I want to move to either China or Korea to work, just for a year. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe 2 years, maybe 3 years. Who knows? I would like to try at some point. It's not something I'm sure I will do yet. Maybe I'll just start a new job. Who knows? What did I need to do? Oh. I was like, what do...
Sherry, Grace is still here.
The FBI agent.
Yeah. Found some files on Victor's computer. She's connected to this somehow.
When did we get a sniper?
Is she okay?
No. I've got it covered.
And she's not wondering why some of them are just dying. This is why I'm not a... Did she run? She fucking ran. Don't worry, I got you. Yeah, apparently.
Next.
But I was not really a sniper in CS anyway. Two seconds. Fuck. 2 seconds. There you go. Sorry. I'm more of an SMG player, to be honest. Even in Valorant, I hate sniping. I am so bad at sniping.
Must be community service.
Yeah, until they nerfed my fucking revolver. But I love revolver. Best weapon. Yeah, just miss. Damn. Orc is a good weapon. I like the orc, but I don't know. Nova. Shotguns are also my choice.
Hang in there, Grace.
Hang in there, Grace. What about me?
Hit.
You know, I feel like I'm getting better at sniping. Was that it? Am I done?
All right.
Oh, superhero landing, huh? I thought I would do a little bit more. Don't you even think about it.
Stay with
Damn.
me.
Grace,
Leon.
where's she?
Asper.
Oh, this is Emily. Help me. I can't stop the bleeding.
Hey, look at me.
You have a med
You're
kit.
gonna be okay.
Leon, right now is not the time to tell us we're gonna be okay. To stop the bleeding.
stay here.
Bleeding is kind of important.
That should be the way to the water treatment plant. It's our way out. Let's go.
We didn't stop the bleeding. Guys, the girl's still bleeding.
They just don't give up. Take her. Get her safe.
Yeah, but
Go.
what about the bleeding? What was that? What is that? Who is that? Damn, you're an ugly motherfucker.
I'll keep our friends busy.
Damn. Ow! Oh! Since when can you have a fucking axe? Okay. Give me a moment. Oh my god. Alright. Give me one more moment. I tried to shoot him. Now I just feel dumb. Oh. Do you have more? No? Thank you.
Time to clear out the rest.
Christ, are we done? Ooh. Yeah, because I could have used that hand grenade before, you know. No, we are done. Uh-huh. Oh. Fuck you. Now we're done, right? Right? Now I can escape. No. Oh, okay. I just need to go up there, you know? It's fine, it's fine, it's fine. We can do that. So, there's a new enemy type, apparently. A big blob. Why? Why? Why does this need to be a thing? Do I wanna know? That's a very short session as Liam. I kinda like to play as Liam.
I'll get you out, Emily.
I don't know if I like to play it first person or third person.
There's got to be a way to get to the surface.
I feel like first person is a lot more horror and third person is a lot more fun as an action thing. I don't know. Maybe I'm just weird. I don't know. I don't know what I prefer. I don't think that like Leon's would work as fun, be as fun as it was in first person. I think it's perfect as
I'm
first.
sorry, I know it hurts.
You haven't fucking stopped the bleeding yet, have you? Huh? Just need to check up. Oh, someone liked something. Still want to know why the fuck we took that hand. And even more, can we Are you alive?
It's okay, Emily.
You gotta be shitting me. It's still alive.
Just here. Here you go. I need to keep you safe.
Yes.
Okay.
Are you absolutely shitting me? Wolf hatch manual. The manual by patient troubleshoot. If the power error persists, you must restart the three power distributors units in the lower areas. I don't want to. I don't want to. But I need to, apparently. But I don't want to. Okay, what do we have here? Ooh. So that means we probably... I still have a hand. I don't know why. Also, I took a clock with me too. I don't know why I have a clock with me. Okay, those two can be in there for now. I'm not gonna use them right now, I'm pretty sure. Don't worry, Emily. I'll come back for you. Oh yeah, we... Stay there. This is such a nice shot. The lighting here is amazing. I just realized if I can find a cosplayer who will cosplay Grace, I could actually recreate that lighting. That could be such a great photo. Oh, am I getting back into cosplay photography? Maybe I am. I just sold my camera though. God damn it.
Insufficient power. Reset the power distribution units on the lower floor.
I
Gotta
know.
get the power on. It's my only chance.
Yeah, but guess who's down there too? I didn't jump. Why am I getting so many of these bullets right now? Does the game really think that I'm that bad at the... Fuck me. I pissed that way off. Okay. Storage area control language. God damn it. How the fuck am I supposed to get out of there? Oh. Haha! I should just have done that. Fuck you. Fuck you. Go suck on a lemon, you piece of crap. That's why I got the bullets. Really?
No lever. There has to be one somewhere.
Ow! Okay, fuck it. I'm using another bullet. Just because.
Fuck! Just die already.
Fuck you. Leave me alone. Huh? What do you wanna do? Huh? Little bitch. Move aside. I didn't want to use those bullets, but oh my gosh, he annoyed the shit out of me. As usual, if anyone gets an ad, just text it, put it in the chat, and we will, you know. Put it in the chat, and we will pause the game. Oh, okay. There's no more in here. Okay, so we just need to run around, up. Okay, so around. So that way around. And then over to the last thing. I'm not here. I'm not here. Fuck. Wrong way. We can do this one sneaky beaky like.
Where's that power unit?
Right here. Oh my god.
Why is it so stiff?
I don't know. VD40! VD40! The power of VD40!
Give me a break.
The power of VD40! Okay, we really actually need to use those bullets. That's good. Oh!
They should open the hatch. I need to hurry.
Oh, VD40. Anything we needed in here? Oh. Okay, let's open the hatch. Oh my god. That's why we got those bullets. Because the game knew we cannot do this. Oh, I just need to take the elevator down, don't I? I don't need to go over here again. Is there an elevator I can take up? Oh, that's... I'm so confused there for a moment. Ooh.
We're getting out of here. Get out of the fucking way. Come on. Open.
Get the sunlight, bitch! Burn. Melt. Have fun. Oh my god, I have never been so happy to see someone melt. Thank you. And do not come back. Never. Keep melting. Be my guest. Go away. Oh my god.
Finally.
Holy shit. That was awful. I hated that so much, but now she's finally dead. She better fucking be dead this time, I swear to God.
Emily, it's me.
Oh no, Emily's no! Oh, why is it? No.
Emily?
Why didn't you give her the magic?
Oh no. Wake up. Come on.
Mouth to mouth? Something? Why didn't you stop the bleeding?
Emily?
Yes. Fresh compassion. 4. If she, by the way, if she's still bleeding and you do that, you will just make her bleed more.
30. Oh, come on, Emily.
Come on. 2.
Wake up, Emily.
Staying alive, staying alive. Staying alive.
Come on.
Welcome back from our little break. Not only are we really sad when seeing people die, but I didn't really get a close relationship to Emily. I remember when Ethan died and we visited his girl bawling my ass out. Holy shit. This is okay. Once again, if this is actually the end of Emily, she feels kind of useless. We only needed her. Oh, Jesus Christ, she's alive. Never mind. I was about to shit talk her.
You okay? You okay?
Is she a monster? Oh. I just got rid of one big thing. What is that? What is this? What are you? Oh my god, what are you?
Emily!
I don't think that's Emily.
Emily?
I don't think that's Emily. It was Emily. That is. Did the game just die? Okay, no, we're good. I don't... Sweetheart.
I wanted to save her!
You don't understand. It's
No, I never would have escaped without her.
Yeah, but that is not Emily
It's not
anymore.
my fault. Again.
No, it's...
Look, I get it. Trust me, I get it. But we're still alive. We have to keep going.
That was not... Sweetheart, the moment that thing turned, that was not... Oh, no, but I like that gun.
No.
What do you mean, no?
Grace.
Grace, what do you mean, no? You want to stay here? What do you mean, no? Is Victor coming now to just make it all up? Is he gonna see Victor be like, you know what, take me? That was amazing. I like that shot too. Is it the end of the game? Will there be a second one? Is that a cliffhanger or anything? Oh my god, imagine if this was a cliffhanger or anything. I would murder somebody. Oh, my fucking...
Elpis is within reach, Grace.
He was here. Hello.
I'd like you to come with me.
Come
Oh.
with you.
Well, you feel lost, but you're not. You're exactly where you need to be.
Who the fuck are you? Daddy.
I've been waiting for you, Grace.
Who are you?
Yeah, actually, who are you?
Raccoon City. You're the reason for its destruction, but you're also the key to building a brave new world.
Huh?
You're the final piece.
What the fuck are you talking about?
Let us show you your true purpose.
No. How about no? Wait, is this the ending? Would you like to save your progress? Yes, I would. Wait, was that... Is this the game? That was the ending or what? That's more. Alright, I was like, there's something wrong here. Who are you? Oh, you're the Cheryl? Cherry? You're the hacking girl. I can't lie. I like you with a glove on. I don't know why. Oh, holy! Maybe you should cut off that hand.
Hey, checking in.
Good timing. Did you find anything on Elpis?
Not yet. Nothing on the servers of the CIA or the Pentagon.
Maybe we need a higher clearance.
I requested one, and I was told to shut down the investigation.
Oh, damn.
Why?
They didn't say. Orders from on high.
Look, we don't need you taking a hit for this. I'll just go it alone.
See
We're
how
in this
smooth it's
together.
running outside without
Till
the
the end.
fucking rain?
I've always been good at working in the shadows.
Oh, the Umbrella Corporation. I know the logo.
Just don't do anything too risky, yeah?
Me?
Never.
Me? Never. You didn't need to drive a hunt with
I'm gonna
that.
find Grace. She definitely has something to do with Elvis.
Oh, she does? Really? Holy fuck! Somebody took a massive shit. Leon, Raccoon City. So I guess we're not done, right? This is not the end. We're continuing the game. Okay. I'm so confused. I am so confused. I thought it feels like a very shitty ending for the game, but apparently we are continuing.
Well, the road's gone. You have to find another way around.
All right. I'll leave that to you. I think I found a clue as to where they might be.
Oh no, Costa.
Some
No
coordinates on
spoilers
Victor's
here.
computer.
Got it, thanks.
Unless you're telling me that
Center
thing is
of
coming
Raccoon
back,
City.
because then I'm just gonna end the game now. I don't want to. So, how is it looking for you guys when I do this? Just need to keep an eye on the screen or something here. Raccoon City incident. Evacuate immediately. Blah 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 blah. Okay. Wow. This is pretty. Oh wow, do I need to run that way? That sounds like a lot. I don't want to go down there.
It's like time stopped here.
Really? You think so?
For Umbrella, it could have just been a normal city.
Yeah.
You need a
Now
key
it's
to.
nothing but ash and memories.
So we need a blue 04 key. Oh. Nice. Damn. He be strong. Not gonna lie, I would love. Unless there's, of course, there's zombies here too. But if there's no zombies, I would love to come here and take photos in Urbex. That would be a cool place. Oh, that's a skull. Is that a spider? Holy fuck! That's a that's a. Never mind. I'm not going there to Urbex. Fuck me.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, oh shit is the right thing to say. Holy shit. Don't piss off the spider. Why do you want to piss off the spider? Me. Okay. Note to self, that's a giant spider. Why would you ever piss off a giant spider? Okay, we are gonna reload everything right now. You know, maybe they've been so old. Why am I trying to shoot this bloody spider? Oh. You know, I'm just gonna run. It's a... It's fine. It's fine. I don't want to be here actually.
All right. Now what?
And now we're running. That's a dumb question, Leon. Now what? There's a giant fucking spider in front of us. What do you think? And I have a feeling it's coming back, so I'm gonna reload while it's not here. I hate it. Alright. What the? Go away. Take that! Leave me alone. Okay, they're kinda weak. Maybe I shouldn't have used a grenade on that. Oh! Ow. That was not okay. That was not okay at all.
You're real fast, you know that.
Oh, go back.
Where are you?
Do we honestly want to know? Oh shit, it's right here. Oh my god. I hate this. How do we do this? Oh, fuck. Ah, okay. Not like that, that's for sure. Oh, that's also up here. That was non-negotiable. I don't know where it is. I don't like this. Oh fuck, it's here. It's really annoying when it does that. Ow, what the fuck? Ah, yeah. Oh, yeah, yeah. Oh. I wish I had more bullets, but I don't. Oh. Got it! Oh no, I made it mad. It's mad. Oh no, it's mad. I don't think that works, Liam. Oh no, man, maybe it did. Don't tell me this was just the male and the female is like 10 times as big.
Oh, I miss our Raccoon City hospitality.
Oh, you do, huh? You do? Well, I don't. Any ammo around here? I think I like used all of mine. I still have some. It's okay. I'm good. I wouldn't say no to some ammo though. That's to get out. Okay. Come on, Leon, you can do it. You just defeated a giant ass spider. Oh wait, let me just. Okay, let me just quickly. Oh no, that's not what I wanted. That's one. I would like to have you on 2, have you on 3, and have you on. Oh no, you two are fine actually. Okay. Oh, let's get out of here. Holy shit. Oh. He looks so annoyed. Like, he really looks like, ugh.
Okay, Sherry. I've hit the barricade. Looks
Shall
like
we?
someone else was here first. And they were planning on busting their way in.
I mean, we could do the same.
No way around?
The Army Corps of Engineers erected it to seal the city. It goes on for miles.
Guess the only way in is through then.
I mean, they already set up everything, so. The detonator is missing. Danger, contaminated area. Okay, so just find the detonator, right? How hard can that be? Wait, there's handgun ammo here? Where? Where? Oh, there. Thank you. Don't even tell me twice that there's handgun ammo. I want all the fucking ammo I can get.
Now, whose camp is this?
I don't know, not mine. The detonator requires 3 parts. Signal receiver, east point, distributor, midpoint, relay, west point. Retrieve them immediately. We don't have much time. Avoid contact at all costs. If combat is unavailable, deal with it quickly. Okay. Okay. What do you mean no power? It's a chest. Oh my god, I just used my mind and it started. Bizarre!
Sure, there's an old BSAA camp here.
Oh, not a
This is
bazaar.
trashed. Looks like they left in a hurry.
I would also
What were
live
the
in a...
BSAA doing in Raccoon City?
Oh, I don't know. What does the BSAA do?
Interesting.
What is it?
The computer's not locked.
That sounds like a security hazard.
They were also headed to the center of Raccoon City.
What happened in the center of Raccoon City? We really need to play all the
That
Resident
reminds
Evil
me.
games, I feel like.
I dug a little deeper in the Pentagon's database, and I noticed something's missing.
Something's
What's
missing.
There's no record of anyone ordering the missile strike on Raccoon City.
Oh, it's a missile strike. Good to know. Thank you.
Well, if not them, then who?
Well, not me.
Leon triggered the alarm. It looks like your campaign to make the DSO stand down really didn't work, Zeno.
I'll leave this matter to you then.
Oh. Perfect. Good to know. Tactical trial. Device to record combat data. Grid and... Oh! Unlocks your combat real time. The more enemies you dispatch, the more credits you earn. Credits can be used to purchase items, weapons, upgrades. So what you're telling me? Hello, hello, baby. Damn. Built-in suppressor. Ooh, attack. I love attack. That is also cool. You know? Alright. I mean, if I need to kill enemies, I'm very happy I'm getting paid to do it then. Hello? I need to... God damn it. Did I miss something? Was that key I was missing? No. Don't think so. Maybe there's something around here I'm missing. There was. Rifle ammo. Always use rifle ammo. Very important. Nothing in this one? No. Why would there be ammo in the APC? Can I just... Oh, I can. Okay, there's nothing that way. I cannot go up there, so... Wait. So that is locked. Okay. Oh. More rifle ammo. Thank you. So to get in there, that's locked. Oh, I'll go down there again. I'm just... Can I go this way? I don't think it game will do. Let me do this. No. Okay. Am I dumb? I mean, a normal person would just jump on that or jump over, but it's okay. So there must be a key somewhere, right? Or an elevator. Not right. Oh. I don't know. Maybe the big door behind me. I feel dumb. It could just open all the way, but sure. Hello? This is the police. Brilliant, thank you. Gunpowder. Always useful. Okay, so we're in here now. Let's try to go upstairs. Again, you could easily go upstairs in real life. But hey, it's a good way to tell me I'm not supposed to go up there, I guess.
Strange. Where are all the bodies?
Don't ask that question. The moment you ask that question, they will show up. Oh. 2 seconds. Sorry for that, my friend just called. Let's continue. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. That's what I fucking said. Where are all the bodies? Oh shit. Let me just... Oh! Guys! 2 seconds. Ow. Damn. Alright. This is why I don't ask where are the bodies. Ah! Did that fucker just throw stuff at me? Oh, fuck. You don't really... You're really not lucky when you don't have the things you need. Holy fuck. Alright, where are you? Ow. Are you both done? Again, this is why you don't ask. Where are the bodies? There's only one answer, right in front of you. Or, as Kinga once said, I'm right behind you, and I.
I'm busted. I'll have to shoot it down.
Shoot what down? Holy fuck. Exactly. Dumb question. Never ask that in a place where you know there should be bodies. Oh, I wonder. There are so many zombies now. Where are all the bodies? Please just die. For the love of God. Holy fuck. Oh my God. Ow! What the? 2 seconds. Go fuck yourself. Sometimes I can't quick scope, by the way. That now was one of those times. Holy. I swear to God, this game has no fucking mercy. Who's breathing? Where are you? Oh. I was like... Go away. Again. Not in the mood for that. Need scrap. I have herbs. I'm good. Brook apartment key. Oh, thank God they're here. Wow.
Bad news, Sherry. This place is overrun with zombies.
That's because you fucking asked where all the bodies.
They should have all been wiped out by the missile.
Yeah, they should have.
Oh, 2 seconds. Yeah. Jeg kunne mønte en kamera. Ja, ja, det er der tilbage. Eller dem der tilbage, så. Og dem. Ja. Damn, everybody wants to talk to me today. Sadly. All right. So, oh, staircase. Oh, ladder, of course. Of course, there's a ladder. Need some fuel. Get some fuel. Let me guess, there's more zombies in here. No power. No, of course not. Oh my god. There's like a boss fight up here in a few seconds. I bet you asked it.
There should be a part for the detonator somewhere around here.
Yeah, that's just big open area. Like, I'm just saying. This is way too convenient to not have something coming up. Thank you.
Sherry, found the distributor. 2 more parts and I can jerry-rig the detonator for that gate.
Great. Can you see any more from your position?
I know the BSAA camp. That should have the signal receiver.
That's a zombie. That's another zombie. That's another zombie. Look at that. Oh, there we go.
Relays over there, huh? That should be a fun trip.
Oh yeah, that should be a very fun trip.
Got the location for those parts. I want to collect them now.
Okay. I'll look into the BSAA in the meantime.
Okay, fine. And yeah, I thought, you know. Yeah, I thought the worst. Oh my god. That means we have money now. We can buy shit. 9,000 credits. Let's go. And I kinda want that one. I really want this one, not gonna lie. But we don't have the we don't have the ammo for it anyway, so maybe upgrade size attach case to that could be pretty good. That would probably be really effective for us to have more hits. Don't have machine guns, so that's a lot for shotgun. Yeah, I think we'll do that for now. I have some rifle ammo. I put these things over here. Gunpowder down. There you go. That's good. Let's just quickly save. I think we will go for like a little bit more. Maybe we should actually. What's the time? It's nearly 10. So got the apartment key though. Let's go down and check how the apartment looks. Grenade. Never saying no to a grenade. Everything is reloaded, nearly. That's good. Lock from the other side, what a surprise. Don't want to use my bullets and shit like that. But I want to get up there anyway. Gunpowder large. And oh. Never say no to that either. The more fucking bullets we get for that amazing big pistol, the better. Okay, let's go in here and check what. Hello? I don't like this. Hello? Scary people? I was hoping he does that. You know what? That is exactly how I like shit to be done. Be quiet. Rifle ammo, we like that. Plant, like that. Scrap? Oh, we can use that. Why did I want to use my scrap? Oh, I need that for that. I gotta make some shotgun shells then. A tracking module common. I can provide combat data. Can oh. Nice. We like that. Okay, it annoys me a little how all of these things are. Just quickly trying to get a little organization into this. There you go. More organized. That's how we like it. Come on, Leon, let me hear your golden words. Well, the bot. Bitch. Oh my god, I cannot wait to do this to you. You deserve everything you get right now. Motherfucker! Oh no, what is this? All stuff. When the battery dies, you need to get a new one from the sewer facility in the underground parking garage. I feel like I need to get a lot of things. Just because people really do not want to do shit themselves. Yeah, not ominous at all. Gunpowder. Slot for crank. Okay, so we need a crank, and we need a battery, and we need a transmitter. Am I just a fucking janitor now? Huh? I'm a janitor. Of course, a janitor with a gun. But a janitor nonetheless. So we need to go all the way around here. Let me guess. We will be overrun by fuckheads. Come on, just bring them to me. Wait, is this gonna break? Oh no. Oh, we need to jump down apparently. Oh, you could have broken your legs by doing that, you know that? Oh. Perfect. That is always something you can use. I knew it. Oh, we actually did that. How about... Jesus Christ, leave me alone, the fuckers. Making it easy for me, that's for sure. I was hoping I could tease him a little. What was that? That's just an action. I have no healing left, do I? No, I do not. Don't even. Don't try. I'm not in the mood for that either. Oh shit! Oh! That was bad. That was such a bad idea. But thank you. Oh, I got a med pack. Thank God. I restore full health. I don't really want to use it right now then. I can use the plant though. That's that I don't mind. Woo! Hate this game. It keeps one up. It keeps one awake. That is for sure. Hello. Okay. A battery. Oh, I can open the door now here. Can I? Thank God. Let me get back up. Can I get out that way? I mean, I wouldn't. Okay, maybe that will be more scarier stuff, but what's it called? Biohazard. That freaked me out. This Resident Evil 7. That was scary. Was because I haven't fucking finished it yet. But annoying. Well, this one is annoying. That is for sure. I wouldn't say it's the scariest. Not yet. We also need to play fucking Resident Evil 7. Do I want to? No. There will be an ad break in 2 minutes, if, of course, we need one. How do we do that? Ow, I broke my legs. Oh, it's not that way. Not that way for sure. We are going somewhere else then. Oh, that's a... Oh. Good thing there's a map. The fucking ladder over here. Did Rasha see the ladder? No, he did not. Is it there still? Yes, it is. Once again, a big open area. Ooh. Damn it. Oh my god, you fucking stabbed me. What a bitch. You can't just stab people. What was that? Machine gun ammo. I don't have a machine gun right now. But of course I'm not saying no to machine gun ammo. Fuck you. I really do like the stealth killing. That's the best. That's stealth killing. That's an ad running. Of course, anyone sees them run, since we're so small. If nobody sees an ad, we will just continue. But only because I really want to play this game right now. If you see an ad, please tell me. Ooh. 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 Was that the machine gun ammo thing? Nice. Kinda want. Can I have you on that one? You on there, and. Ooh, and the plant. We are fine though. We are good. Do we need to go this way? No, no we don't. There's someone in here. Damn. That was not just someone. Holy fuck, that's a lot. That was two in there. Don't do that again. I love this. Well, since we are running ads, but no one is saying they're getting ads, does that mean we get no ad revenue again? Well, well. There was scrap on this side. Just gonna grab it quickly, just because we can. Okay. Also because I really want the scrap. We have 2 scraps, so we can make rifle. Why the fuck is the grenade on there? There we go. Let's get back. How do we get out of here? Oh! Ah, fuck me. Okay. I know. I was like, how are we getting out of here? But there should be another ladder somewhere here I hadn't seen. Like usual. Yeah, there we go. I'm surprised how bad I am at seeing ladders. Ow. Oh my god. Ow. Thank you. What a bitch. Have I ever said how much I hate that guy? Because I really hate that guy. Like, really, really hate that guy. I love this one, but it's not very strong. Any of you coming to life? No, there's a cutscene. Don't tell me the biggest, toughest, meanest motherfuckers coming back. Oh my god, please. Oh. Let me plug this into my iPhone. What? Oh.
Encountered 3 infected and eliminated them. That's correct, sir. Do we proceed?
Procedure.
So the rumors were true?
That's true.
What rumors? The missile wasn't just about stopping the spread. Don't be ridiculous. Affirmative. Listen up. Our objective hasn't changed. We rendezvous with the advanced party in the center of Raccoon City, then head for Ark. Our mission is to retrieve Elpis. Move out!
Alright. We're playing what is it called? SWAT? Oh no, what killed them? Is that big meanie fucker?
Man down, man down!
It's a sniper, look fucking on the up on the roof.
Oh my fucking legs! Get cover! Get cover! Please help me!
Oh.
Holy shit!
Damn. He was cool. I wonder who that is.
I thought I had a short fuse.
Apparently he has an even shorter fuse. They didn't even talk to him. He just shot them. He's kind of badass. Not gonna lie.
What are we doing here?
All in good time. You'll see.
Where's Victor? Think Victor just go home? Victor's like, fuck it, I did my shit. I'm going back. Back to those creepy fuckers at my place. Damn. Ooh, a key. Thank you. A container key. I mean, I would like to take the armor, not gonna lie. Oh, I still need the signal receiver. Oh, I need to get fuel to get that. So now that I'm here, is there an easier way for me
Send some footage your way, Sherry.
to get back over there?
What the hell?
The guy at the end. White suit.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
the database is coming up empty.
So there are ghosts involved with Elpis, too.
I still want to know what Elpis is. Oh, we can open this one now. Oh, lovely. Give for tool repair kit. Still.
Beautiful. Just need to get through that gate.
Wait, what? Okay. I want to see what I can buy. So many credits. Oh. I'm just gonna get that. And with the built-in silencer. I'm gonna get that. Oh wait, no, I wanted to check if I could upgrade. I can also upgrade stuff, right? I have no credits right now, but I will upgrade stuff. That'll be next time I will upgrade stuff. Okay, I have too much shit suddenly. Okay. But I want to use this pistol instead. It's an overall better pistol. Okay, let's I want to go around just a little bit more. But I also should end the stream soon. Oh, that is so much better. I like that. Do we need power for this? This also needs fuel. Okay, let's go up and grab the fuel at least, and then we can. Thank you. Let's see what's up here. Not gonna lie, this game became a lot more interesting. Not that it wasn't interesting before. It was really interesting in the hotel thing. But now it's also it feels like it became like a completely different game. Doesn't matter to have a science pistol if I can't fucking hit. Just gonna murder you like. I could just normally. There we go. Always spent too many pills on you. Oh, the plant! Thank you. Need a fuel container. You know what? That makes sense. Don't know what I thought I would need. Okay, there's something down here since we're getting fucking a medical. Rifle ammo. Oh, gas can. Thank you.
Gotta fill this up.
Yes, yes we are. Also need to deal with whatever's in here. And something is in here.
Let me guess. You must be the town lumberjack.
Now this. What? Don't throw that. Oh my god, I love this. I remember this was the reason I bought Resident Evil, not now we need. Ah, come on. I wanted that. No. Oh well. Alright, I think we're good. Never mind. Jesus Christ. Damn, he is. He's a tough nugget, holy shit. I have no more bullets. He took 2 of my most powerful bullets. Damn! He did not take no for an answer, that is for sure. Fuck me. Oh, no was not in his vocabulary. He wants to fuck me. Thank you.
Alright.
Always check your area, because sometimes there's more shit. That was my... So, oh, there's a module here. How do we get out of it? Oh yeah, right, I know. Alright. I'm only an idiot sometimes. I know actually how to get out of here. Can I push that? No, okay. But do I have fuel now forever, or do I need to fill it up like every time I need to use it? Okay, it feels like I just have it forever. Might have it forever now. Oh. Don't complain, just do. Excuse me, I'm not complaining, I'm just saying. Okay, we spent a lot of rifle ammo doing that shit. What do you mean? Have you never heard the shot from behind? This is the best way to fucking get rid of those fuckers. Holy shit. Yeah, it's just, you know, real life delay. Have you never, you know, when you shoot a bullet, it just takes some time. Don't think too much about it, Costa. Don't think too much about that. That's just how it is in real life. It's how it is. Ooh. They don't fit. Weapons don't fit into, so can be sold in the supply. Oh. Oh. Okay. Is the gate really? No, everything is fine for me. Well, we are also about to end the game, so. Now I'm just doing this just to annoy you. I don't know what you're talking about. Holy fuck. Don't throw that. I just said don't throw that. I did tell them not to throw it. Oh, you sent me a clip. Interesting. Well, we are also about to end the game, so. Ah, see. Interesting. Interesting delay. Can't really do shit about it right now. I mean, I don't know what you want me to do, Coaster. Can't do anything. I need to reload the stream, but I'm going to end the stream in like the moment we get over and save. So, well, I don't know. If I could fix it, don't you think I would? No, I would not. That is correct. That is very correct. Oh yeah. Oh no. Don't need that. That one is cool, but I don't like it. So no. Anything else I don't want? No. Sounds good. I forgot to accept it, didn't I? I want that. There we go. Trigger. Oh yeah. Wanted. There we go. But yeah, let's save. Yeah, that's so much better, that pistol now. And let's just say, we have been streaming. Now, we've been streaming for 3.5 hours. With the other yesterday's stream, we've been streaming for like 8 hours of this game, more or less. So yeah, thank you so much everyone for watching. And I'm sorry for the big lag when there's rain. Nothing we can do about that. Computer's not the best, but hey ho. I will continue one of the days this week. Don't know when, but you know, if you're not already join the Discord down in the description. You will get a notification when we're live. If you are, well, thanks for joining the tea house, and thank you very much for coming in. Take care, everybody. I should logging out. Bye. I need to stop. I need to remember to be on the bottom to end when I do that. Bye.